Hi everyone, welcome back. This is the first episode in a series on my channel called The Films with Malcolm McDowell. Along with many other influential people like Gary Oldman and the creator of South Park, Trey Parker, I consider Malcolm McDowell my favourite actor. In my lifetime, I wish to collect and view all of his films. He has currently made over 200. I currently have 14 of his films in possession, and we're going to go through them. I'm always collecting more films, I'm always watching more films. So this is going to be a discussion that will span through many videos. I haven't watched all of the films that I have, and I certainly haven't collected all of the films he has made. So every once in a while I'll keep you updated on basically what's going on. This is the first episode, so let's get straight into it. The first film Malcolm McDowell ever made was If, a film by Lindsay Anderson. The edition I have came from England. It is the Masters of Cinema series film 84 on Blu-ray. On the inside there's a little pamphlet that kind of has, a bit of the history of the movie and kind of awards, just a little bit of insight and some stills from, the film and the production. I have seen If, not all the way through, because it's very slow. And I certainly haven't seen it on this beautiful Blu-ray, special edition Blu-ray, which I was lucky enough to get my hands on. From what I've seen of it, it is very well made. It's a very old movie, it's from 1968, and the production value really holds up. It hasn't aged and it still remains like a really relatable, really good film about, teenage rebellion and life in the 60s. The next film I have is Malcolm McDowell's second film, and that's Figures in a Landscape. The edition I have is an ex-rental from the Paramount collection. I got my copy off eBay for a couple of dollars. The case is unfortunately falling apart and there's a few, blemishes on the cover. However, the desk is as good as new. It's probably only been played once in its lifetime. The general plot of Figures in a Landscape is there are these two guys, and we don't know what they've done, but we know they're fugitives and they're running away from this unnamed kind of force. Doesn't give you much background on what's happening in the story. You just kind of get to watch along as they try to run away from authority time and time again. The ending is a bit abrupt, but otherwise it's just a really nice little movie, and again really good for its time. This came out in 1970. I would recommend this if you can get a copy of it. I don't think there's a Blu-ray out. There might be, but even this edition, this DVD edition, is very good quality nevertheless. The third film is The Raging Moon, a film by Brian Forbes. I have the digitally restored vintage classic Blu-ray edition of this film. It came from England. It's very nice. It's got its own dust jacket, as you can see. I have watched this film, however not all the way through, but what I can say is that it has been restored very nicely. This film is based off a book of the same title. I couldn't tell you the author, but basically it's about this man who catches polio not long after his brother's wedding, and his family can't really deal with this, so he is sent to a home for people who are disabled. Polio has caused this man, his name's Bruce, to lose sensation in his legs. He can't walk, and during his stay in the home he becomes very depressed. He doesn't have any friends. He doesn't want to be there, he wants to be home. But he does meet another girl with polio who has had the same effects. She also cannot walk, and they become friends and eventually lovers. It's a very beautiful movie, and it's Malcolm McDowell's mum's favourite of all of his, and has over 200 films. It is very good. The fourth and obviously most infamous movie starring Malcolm McDowell is Stanley Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange. I have watched this all the way through many times, but not before on the Blu-ray edition I have. This is the 40th anniversary Blu-ray special edition of A Clockwork Orange. It includes many special features such as commentary and of course the Malcolm McDowell biography film. Obviously it has been restored fantastically, and I feel this movie is going to stand the test of time. I couldn't tell you this is Malcolm McDowell's best film, but he gives an amazing performance in this. As you'd expect, he's Malcolm McDowell. And if you haven't seen this, you should, because I feel everyone should watch this movie at least once. If you love it or hate it, it doesn't matter. It's worth it regardless. The next film I have by Malcolm McDowell, I can't confirm it's his fifth film, but it's definitely the next one that comes chronologically out of the ones that I own. This is Royal Flash. This is the Blu-ray edition from the UK. I honestly know nothing about it. I haven't even opened it yet. But when I have some time, I'm definitely going to sit down and just have a laugh, because it looks kind of like a comedy. I cannot confirm, but yeah, I will let you know in the next episode if I have gotten around to this and what I think. The next film I have by Malcolm McDowell is probably my favourite, and this is Time After Time. I have watched this one all the way through a couple of times, and I just have the standard DVD home video edition of the film. I don't know if there's been a Blu-ray released. I think it's due to come out soon, and I'll probably be picking that up when it does. The quality's alright for a DVD video, especially given it came out in '79. This one's also based off a book of the same name by Carl Alexander. It also inspired the Cyndi Lauper song Time After Time. It's a very bizarre story where H.G. Wells, you know, the H.G. Wells philosopher, author, inventor H.G. Wells, chases Jack the Ripper, through time from the 18th century to the 20th century, San Francisco. It's very interesting. The next film is still in its shrink wrap, but I have seen it before. I've only ever watched it all the way through once. It's a very long movie, but I've watched parts of it several times because it's very enjoyable. This movie is Caligula. The edition I have is the standard Blu-ray from Spain because I couldn't get a better deal anywhere else, so I had to order it all the way from Spain. However, the original English version of the film comes on this DVD. I literally just finished reading the book based off Gore Vidal's screenplay, adapted by William Howard. I will review that at some point. I don't know if it'll be next week, but it'll be some point. You can check out my Goodreads. I kind of talk about it there very briefly, maybe in 4 words or less. This is definitely not for everyone, but if you're interested in ancient Rome and you like a little bit of something crazy, maybe? Yeah, I really can't recommend this to anyone unless they're like really into Malcolm McDowell or like really into ancient Rome. And I'm really into Malcolm McDowell and I'm kind of into ancient Rome, so it was a good fit for me. The next film I have is Cat People, the 1980s remake of the classic horror film. My edition is just the standard DVD home video. It doesn't really have any special features or anything, it's just the movie. I have watched this all the way through once. It is really weird. It's basically about people who are also cats, but there's a twist. Whenever a cat person, like the characters played by Natasha Kinski and Malcolm McDowell, whenever they have sexual intercourse with a human, like a pure human, like their parents were both humans, not one of them was a cat for some reason, they turn into cats. And the only way they can have sexual intercourse and not turn into cats is by having sex with their sibling. This is so weird. I don't know who came up with this idea. And Natasha Kinski's character's like, no, I'm not going to have sex with my brother just so I can not be a cat. I don't care. The next film is the third film in the Working Class Trilogy by Lindsay Anderson. The first being If, second being Oh Lucky Man, but I haven't been able to find a copy of Oh Lucky Man. I don't know if there's a Blu-ray out yet. If there is, I'll be picking that up. I can't find a DVD in my region, but Blu-rays are even easier to get your hands on these days. I got an ex-rental of Lindsay Anderson's Britannia Hospital for over $30 on the internet because this is so rare to find in region 4. It's an ex-rental, it's just the DVD home video edition of the movie. From what I remember, there's this hospital that kind of caters to the rich and they're cutting, you know, corners and only allowing certain people in the hospital, and people are upset about that. So the reporter, Mick Travers, played by Mark McDowell, kind of goes to investigate and then weird stuff happens. That's all I can say, really. It's just a mess, but it's fun. It's fun. People are just really upset with Britannia Hospital, and so investigation ensues. The next 2 films I have not seen either of them, but they are Southern Cross and Hydrosphere. These are both just B-movie Malcolm McDowell films that I saw for only a couple dollars, and I'm like, a couple dollars, you know, it'll be fun. I just picked them up. I will keep you informed on if these are worth the watch. The next film I have is Everland Co. Now we're going on to Malcolm McDowell's more recent stuff. As you can see, he is old now. Everland Co. was based off a book that the director wrote about, I think it was called The Communist Who Eats Children, but you can't quote me on that. Basically, it's about this Russian dude who's also kind of a pedophile, and basically a little bit about his life and about his arrest and about his trial and things like that. I've only seen the first 15 minutes of this film because it got weird really quick. Again, I just have the standard DVD home video edition of the film. There are some special features, but basically that's about it. The next film I have is Rob Zombie's Halloween. This again is just the DVD home video edition of the film. There's a few special features. I have seen this all the way through except the last 15 minutes. This is a very nice little horror movie. I feel Rob Zombie doesn't get enough credit because his films are just the definition of just horror. There's enough story, there's enough gore, there's just enough madness. Although they go all kind of like, you know, trashy, they're still good. And this is no exception. This is basically known as Rob Zombie's best film. I do like Malcolm McDowell's character, except I think there's more they could have done with him. But it's good. It's good. The last movie I have is Singe the Devil. I haven't seen this again, still in the shrink wrap, but from what the trailers and stuff that I saw, it kind of looked like an Australian movie. Because the guy who stars in it has an accent. I don't know if that's intentional or not. Basically what this film is about is this one guy is like, I'm sick of Satan just ruining everything and tempting everyone. I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to sue Satan. And then Malcolm McDowell obviously plays Satan because it's Malcolm McDowell. This looks like a fun little movie. I'm going to put this on one day. Again, it's just the standard, you know, DVD home video edition. There's a few special features. That's basically it. That's basically all the Malcolm McDowell films that I own. I'll keep you updated on my journey through all of them. If you want to express your admiration for Malcolm McDowell, please do it in the comments. I want to feel less alone. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you next week. Bye!